was the characterization part of that. Once you decide if there's characterization, then you need to only include compatible technologies.
Right.
So certain kinds of processing might be able to be right next door or even integrated into the MCP, but others might not be able to be. Anything that happens on the gray side of this has to be compatible with the sensitive equipment. Now, it could be that you do actually have heavy processing going on, but that there is sufficient shielding and vibration isolation and all these other things that can happen. But to answer your question, there was never any kind of stipulation that this is the limit to what MCP was.
So I guess I'd like to start by sort of pointing out this is a very positive development. It's the way you guys are going, and I really appreciate that. I think we really appreciate Mitchell's willingness to step up and steer. I think,
Not to mention take all this flack.
I have
thick skin.
The lion's den.
So thank you. I guess I have a conceptual question for you. I think you raised actually. I think in many minds on campus right now, people have a vision for what MCP is, and it's sort of tied to the space in the building. But I seem to remember early discussions where the vision was somewhat broader than that. So for instance, I could ask, do you envision MCP as perhaps an organizational construct which would be able to operate facilities that are not in Steve but elsewhere on campus?
I personally do.
Great. If
I think Chad could talk about it too, but yeah.
If that's the viewpoint, then this is not a space limitation. There is still a space limitation on campus, there always is. But as far as MCP is concerned, your umbrella could be much larger.
Exactly. I also think that allows for the interdisciplinary growth model. Go ahead, Jim.
So then if I
No, I completely agree.
Sorry,
I like to refer to this as a foundation of a larger structure, which isn't just limited necessarily to Steve. But just to review history, I think that it's better to have the foundation from which we can grow and expand out rather than having piecemeal pieces of equipment where, which is the way it's sort of historically been.
I agree completely, and I think thinking about the big picture now is really useful. I do resonate to the concerns about processing. I think we have very short-term concerns as well as long-term concerns, including the consortia that Tim was talking about. We have to be able to execute on those, and if we can't articulate vision for how this might work, it becomes hard for those operations. I think one could talk to the question of the ratio of space within a facility like this with respect to offices and classrooms versus other things. That's a decision you folks have to make. It's always a problem how you handle all of that. But I think for us as a community to go to university leadership with a vision that says we expect to expand, we expect to have to expand in these kinds of areas in terms of intellectual areas, and then articulating that up front in terms of potential investments that might be needed to do the use.
I agree with you completely. I think that there's an energy barrier there in viewing something as an umbrella. If it gives people a little bit of pause. So they say, even though I think that that's the best way forward and the way to expand, I think we have to carefully say, what if the reception of the community is that we did forget about processing? Are we going to be able to engage it later? And I think, so for me, for example, I came in and I thought to myself, honestly, and this is, I shouldn't be admitting this, but I thought to myself, there's some other renovated spaces on campus, let's put all the microscopes there and make this a processing facility and have it be an umbrella. Maybe that'll be cheaper and easier. But I think we have to think more broadly, right? We have to figure out, okay, what is the ratio of space now and how do we engage? And so I think what would be most useful is to prioritize the type of processing, not just for near-term, but for these long-term visions that you guys have, all of us together. And again, not just instructional materials, but more broadly, and say, what do we envision as this umbrella structure? Do we envision new buildings? Do we envision space, even in Steve, opening up and putting other labs that might not be relevant at all, so it won't be an interdisciplinary space where it's a one-stop shop? Can we move those people or labs elsewhere, that it might be, you know, that we can open those up for processing. I think that actually has to be discussed now, because we do have an opportunity that's lost there. One of the most exciting things about the MCP is that it is the MCP, right? And that isn't happening elsewhere. So I really don't want to build a characterization facility that just is microscopes. And the data science is exciting, but it's also easier. It's smaller. And you know, and so I think that I really want the message to come across that P is not going away, and we want to engage you guys, at least, you know, this is important to everyone. It's really important to me. Yeah.
Because what you mentioned as an alternative is to locate processing in different facilities around campus, which is okay, but I would really like to vote for a co-location. What we're benefiting from here is having technical staff together who can help manage equipment. If you're in, you know, 10 different facilities,
Right.
and rooms and buildings,
You're right.
scattered around campus, we won't have that ability. And I
It's
think
also more
that's
expensive and cumbersome.
right. So
to operate,
if we
yeah.
can't fit it in Steve, we should think about where could we put it so it's all co-located as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think Todd brought up earlier that the left-hand area there is like the fluids labs or something, the grayed out area on the left side of the diagram. How active are they? Who owns them? What's the likelihood that reprioritization where MCP expands to that area?
Yeah.
Who makes that
So
decision?
let me introduce Chris Brown from Facilities and Real Estate. He will address that question.
Thanks. So that space over here, if I borrow. This, there are 3 separate labs. So this space here is going to be for environmental health and engineering. There'll be some undergraduate labs in there. This space here, G100, is a wave tank. Currently using it less for wave production than for blowing across water surface. And
That's the fluids group in mechanical engineering.
Yep, correct. And then another mechanical engineering space back here, G200, and that has a small wave and wind tunnel equipment set up in there.
So Chris, is that currently existing?
That is currently in design. This wave tank is currently there, that exists right now, but the G200 space and the G300 space are in design right now, about ready to go out for construction bid, and that should be built by about roughly sometime in the spring next year, spring, almost summer.
So it sounds like too late to potentially